Hey guys, my name is Valoraxe, and today I'm going to be showing you Ravenmark, Scourge of Estellion. Now, what this is basically the main menu, as you can see right here. Yeah, there you go, yeah. Yeah! It's always the basic mistakes. It's always the lovely basic mistakes. Anyway, what we got right now is just the main menu of the game. So you got continue, which is basically all the save games that you have that you can start again. Always good. Campaigns is mostly where you're going to be playing the game off of. The game doesn't have any multiplayer or any skirmishes, but it does have a very large comprehensive campaign system and an extra campaign for the PC port, which is, I believe, sort of the aftermath of the battle, the epilogue of what happens in Ravenmark. And it sort of ties into mercenaries from what I've heard. Are they in the chat? Is Tebius in here? I didn't see anyone walk in. Yes, say hi to Tebius and Brian Quirk, guys. Brian Quirk. Those guys, these are the developers or part of the development team for Witching Hour for Ravenmark, which is pretty sweet for them to come on and just say hi. Yeah, which is pretty sweet. Campaigns, really the only single player content for the game, but with a new campaign, always great. The Codex is a really interesting feature for the game as well. The Codex basically shows you all of the units within the game, and it also tells you about the lore and what happens within the universe of Ravenmark. So if here you see these are all the factions available. So you got Estellion, which is the main faction that we're playing, Kaysan, which are the main antagonists, and Ezota and Lyri, which are big minor factions that sort of play a part in the story. And you have minor nations as well, such as the Brachian, which are sort of like sort of green cobra sort of like people, which is pretty cool. And you got your tabs, you got your characters as well, characters that you meet throughout the storyline as well. And you got the lore and the events that happen alongside in the story. So as you go through the game, the events update itself, and you see more about what happens within the story, and you can go back and just sort of read up what it's all about, which is pretty cool. So that's basically the Codex. The Codex is also really important because it showcases like the statistics of a unit. So you got the Rook Guard here, which are like the super elite of the Estellion forces, and they basically have very strong profiles, very hard-hitting melee unit, and they got some pretty awesome abilities. If you haven't played Ravenmark, or if you've just only played it from the iPad, they're a very, very strong unit, especially with certain combinations. So we'll see how that goes. Any plans for mercenaries getting to PC? We haven't heard anything yet. I believe that's more for Tebius for that sort of information. But to my knowledge, we don't know. But it could be a thing in the future, especially since we got that awesome epilogue campaign that we might sink our teeth into. So I'm going to start one of the missions I want to show you guys. Today we're going to showcase the variety of factions available to Ravenmark, and we'll begin with the sort of like the vanilla faction, which is Estellion. So I'll just get on here and start a pretty cool mission. This is also a really good mission for people who don't necessarily know the game and just sort of get an idea on how the mechanics work. Just to give a bit of context for what's going on, our main protagonist is sort of a young up-and-coming soldier, more of a thinker than a fighter, very high tactician, but is sort of beaten down a lot because he's not as physically powerful, and he sort of gets bullied by his superior sergeant, and they've been ambushed recently, and he pulled them out of the fire through some pretty slick Sun Tzu movements. Sun Tzu from The Art of War. He didn't necessarily read those books, but he did read quite a lot of books, and he pulls them out of the fire, and they bring the word back to the general here, Vidius Harper, and it looks like the Brachians, who we attacked earlier in the campaign, are sort of hiding out somewhere, and we're going to go take them down. At least that's the good old plan. Raven till the end. Personally, I think Rebus is an awesome character. Rebus is one of those... Rebus is like the big, tough guy sort of dude, but, you know, heart of gold, and isn't afraid to, you know, say what he has to say. And he does have some really funny dialogue when it comes to his little brother. Sort of poking him now and again. Jabbing him. Yes, Felide Belial. I haven't completed the game myself, and I'm not even sure if he's like with us or against us, or if he's sort of in it for his own ends. You know, he's totally all over the place. But you know, it'd be interesting to see where ultimately his allegiance lies in the end. And this is Callius Septim, who is Rebus's little brother. He's the thinker that I was talking about a little bit earlier. I heard the ambush idea belonged to you. Yeah, totally. It was totally not my brother. Really. Half the cast is fairly awesome. That's quite true. But some of the cast I think are just hilarious. Mainly the Kaysan head honcho, the Kaysan Pope, Eligio, I believe is his name. I just think he's hilarious. He's just totally off his rocker all the time. It's great. Are you comfortable riding horseback, lad? Yeah. Excellent! I believe I have found myself a conversation partner for the coming trip, Rebus. I'm not sure if he actually sounds like that. Yes, Allegio de Porres. Allegio de Porres, the Italian. So they're riding out. Belial's a little bit angry because Callius is getting up in the world. It doesn't matter if you spelt it incorrectly. The fact is you remembered the name. And I kind of remembered it. So, you have more brownie points than I do, Araman. Just don't throw a doom bolt at me. You have seen the field. Do strategies come to mind, lad? Run! Run away! Hey, Pat Garrett. Or Pat Garrett, sorry. Mr. Host. Mr. Host is known as Valoraxe. Just throwing it out there. So basically, what Vidius and Callus were talking about is they're going to send in big ol' Rebus to smash up the front lines with a sneak attack by using a fake convoy. And it's sort of teaching Callus that you know, if you have a good plan, you've got to go through with it. You can't like second guess yourself, and to also you gotta rely on your big brother because he is awesome. And arguably the next line is probably the most badass line in this game. Shield brothers, earn your wings! And they basically just smack the hell out of everyone. It's just badass. If Witching Hour do like a little bit of animation CGI, they have to do that scene with just Rebus leaping out of this this fake convoy and just basically smashing into the Brachians and just yelling that line. That would be epic as hell. But enough of my ranting. We're finally getting into the game. Right. I don't need to show you the tutorial stuff. Right, so this is Ravenmark. It is a turn-based strategy game with a We Go system. So what this basically means is that after you initiate your commands, everything will run at the same time. So the enemy units and your units will activate at the same time, but in initiative order. So what this means is that there's a little button down here which toggles the banners to turn number, which means this will show you the initiative order of who goes first and who goes last. So if I click this, you'll see that good old Vidius Harper goes first. He's a very high initiative character. And this actually is very helpful because he has a very powerful ability that he can use. Callus is third, and one of the our cavalry units is second. So basically, we have the initiative. We will generally get to attack first in this case, which is great, because attacking first is always the best thing to do. And over here you got some formations and some other guys which are a little bit low on the initiative mark. And if we go over here, you'll see... I can't actually scroll up, that's annoying. That these spearmen and this spearman here are a little bit further behind, but generally have a higher initiative than our basic troops. Generally the Brachians have a better... Oh, I can scroll up. I'm in window mode at the minute. Okay. So that's just basically the basic initiative order. So when if I were to press start, my guy would go first, and then my other cavalry, and then this cavalry unit will go, and then it will cycle through all the turn numbers. So this is very important to learn, because if you want to make a strategy happen, you have to know who is going first and who is going last, or who is going second, because that can really screw up your movement. So in this scenario, if I wanted to move my earthbound windswept cavalry to here, but if I intercept it with old Rebus, for example, so let's say I put him here, then he would block this guy's movement, and he would have to spend extra movement spaces to go around him to get there. Well, we don't want that to happen. We want him to have the maximum amount of movement possible and to give him the most freedom. And actually, that was Callus, not just some cavalry unit. So it is important that you make sure you understand who is going first and who is going last, and make sure you plan out where people are going accordingly. So that's just a little thing about initiative. So that's initiative. This little banner here sort of shows you the orders that are in place for a unit. So everyone is standing ground because nothing has happened yet. But when I toggle this later, when I've done some of my moves, I'll show you that that some of them are pursuing, some of them are resting, and some of them are just standing ground because they're fighting a unit. So that's that. So we're going to go select our good old Vidius Harper and just showcase some of the stuff that's available. So you have your move, obviously, so you can move to a certain number of tiles. The darkened ones are places that you could go, but generally are blocked by either units or terrain that are in the way. So that's just something to keep in mind. Also, mentioning that, if this Lancer unit was a higher initiative, I could move them out of the way, and he wouldn't have a problem moving that full distance. But in this case, it won't happen, because Vidius Harper is a very high initiative guy, so that won't happen. So, movement, just moving around is always good. Standing orders are a very important asset of the game, because you only have 6 commands. You can only command up to 6 units per turn. So it's important to use a standing order, because a standing order keeps going throughout the turns. So, for example, if I were to tell Vidius Harper to, let's say, standing orders and pursue, and I want to chase after this archer unit, he would constantly chase that archer unit forever until it died, or he dies. But I only use this order once, and then in my next turn, I could just command other units to do what they want, and he will just continue to pursue. So this frees up command slots for you to use other units to attack targets, or to rest, or to do whatever you need to do with them. So standing orders is important if you want to just if you're commanding a massive battle. So that's so it's sort of important to get your head straight on that. Standing orders advance is just basically, it's similar to pursue. So pursue would be chasing that target, but advancing would just generally mean they would continue to move the maximum distance in a certain direction. So if I was to tell him to, if I was to tell him to advance northeast, this guy would continuously move all the way like this, and he will keep going until, you know, he'll just stop, and he won't do anything. He will attack people if they're within melee range of him, or if he's in attacking range, because he's a range unit. But generally, he's got a good head on him. So that's just the basics of standing orders. Is just being able to advance in a certain direction and continuously move in that direction. Pursuing means you chase down enemy units. Standing ground is the basic instruction. So if you just don't use that unit at all, they'll automatically go to stand ground, but that won't take up any command slots. Rest is helpful because it enables you to heal a unit. if they don't take any damage. So if you find yourself with a commander unit and he has to survive and he's really low on health, stick him in a corner and keep pressing rest all the time, and he'll just genuinely get his health back up and you'll be fine. So rest is helpful if you want to keep certain guys on the board, if you or you can opt to not use rest and just keep up the aggression and keep fighting. Right. So I better move some units because I've been yapping about and I haven't actually got anything done. So let's get things moving. So I'm going for a really aggressive sort of get our face in and attack. So going up there. Now this is a bit funny. Good old Belial is looking the wrong way. That doesn't really help, does it? You know, having your archery units like firing in the other direction into a mountain wall. Not exactly helpful. So we're going to wheel him about. One of the aspects of the game is it uses massive formations of units. So wheeling is an aspect of the game which enables you to further manipulate large units. So for instance, since we're facing the wrong way, we want good old Belial to face northwest. Northeast, sorry. I am bad at geography. So we will face northeast, but this will use up some movement. Now, Belial is using up one of our command slots just by wheeling around, because by wheeling them northeast, he's basically telling these guys to move into a certain square, to actually move a square. Whereas these Earthbound Spearmen are looking in the opposite direction, but we just want them to do a 180 turn to go northeast. So if we tell them to go northeast, they just go northeast. And that's because they haven't moved a square. They haven't moved at all. So generally, if you want to make formations, or basically if there's someone behind you and you want to get them, you can get them very easily just by wheeling them to the opposite direction and then pursuing or moving or doing whatever you want to do. So generally that's pretty good. I'll go into bigger formations in a minute. Rebus, hit that guy. I know they're in the way, but they're going to be much of a problem. So cavalry's moving up. It's at 200% speed, so we're just moving by a little bit quicker. Right. Let's see if we can showcase some of the units in the Codex. So we have this formation here, which is a triad, I believe, top of my head. You have three types of formations in the Estellion army. You have daggers, which are basically one-man infantry units or one-man units, such as the Septims and Harper here. You have deuces, which are basically two units that have come together. So like these Earthbound Spearmen. So they have the two-man formation. And then you have the Earthbound Swordsman and Belial's unit, which are in, I believe, is a triad or something along those lines. But basically, you can have up to a maximum of three units in one formation. And these do a couple of things for you. The first thing they do, and this is important, is that they give you buffs and ability and special abilities. So for our Earthbound Swordsman, you'll see here that they have an ability called Lock Shields. There's a little two-circle thing here. So that means, thank you, Aramin, it's a trine. So you have Lock Shields, which is the Deuce ability. So long as we have a Earthbound Swordsman unit, and there's two of them in one formation, they get Lock Shields, which basically means they can ignore damage if they get a very good roll, which is pretty sweet, considering that they could just hold the line for a very long time. But if they're in a trine, they get armor boost. So they basically get better armor against ranged attackers. So you could just happily put them in a massive trine and just advance them forward. No problems whatsoever. However, because they're in a trine or in a deuce, they actually move slower. So as you can see, I can only move up to 3 spaces forward with the whole unit. But if I were to detach a unit, I can move arguably 4 or a bit higher. That's not true, I'm lying. So basically, you have a greater 360 degree of movement if you're if you're in a dagger, so you can just move around and do what you need to do. However, in a deuce, you're a bit more limited. You can't move to the left, you can't go backwards very quickly. You're basically stuck in your direction, and you have to wheel in order to, you know, get any sort of maneuverability going. But because the enemy unit is just right in front of us, we don't need to worry about that. Just to showcase that again. So I'm detaching all my units. These are just free Earthbound Swordsman Dagger units. I want to form them up. So I click on one of the units, press formation, and generally anyone within base contact of the parent unit, which is our guy here, we can add the plus sign, and basically they'll become a formation. So off you go. That's the northeast, and we're going to tell them to just advance. So we're going to show a bit more standing orders. Just generally move around. Now, Harper, as I believe Araman has said, has a certain ability called Imperial Glory. Now, abilities in the game can either be passive or active. Passive abilities are generally just, you know, within the units, and you can find them within the codex. They're not easy to pick out. You have to like look at the codex to know the passive abilities of certain units. However, for active abilities such as Imperial Glory, you can just generally just pick it up and go, oh, there it is, I'm going to use that ability. And it generally explains what it does. So all elements in this army will get plus 10 initiative. This generally means we'll be able to get our entire army to go first, and this will basically give us the initiative and just pounce on everything we can. So I'm going to use Imperial Glory for Harper, see where that goes. And my windswept. They are windswept. Yes, they are windswept. I'm going to put him off to the flank and tell my archers to move forward. Everyone's just going to move up now. We're just getting into the thick of it. And just get going. So Imperial Glory has now been cast, and now everything is moving. All of my guys should be going first because we have a higher initiative value. So even the big block units are doing what they want to do. So we want to hit them, as you do. Now, notice these little arrows? That basically means what my guys are doing. So, as I can see, I've already made a pursuit order to... I've thrown a pursuit order at Belial to do something. So he's pursuing... he's just moving up. He's advancing, sorry. So he's advancing northwest, east. He's advancing northeast, so he's just going in that general direction. These Earthbound Swordsmen are pursuing the Brachyan Spear unit. So they're going to keep chasing them all day. They're pursuing, and everyone else is standing ground because their move order is complete. So that's all that's happening with them for the minute. Now, what I want to showcase are the other little icons we're getting. So you see this bow and arrow sign, the horse, the shield, and the spear, and these little pike signs. These are the general sort of types of units you have in the game. The star units are 5th type, but they're sort of like their own little thing in the corner. What these mean is basically sort of like a rock, paper, scissors scenario. So certain units are stronger against other units and they're weaker against others. So for example, an infantry unit is very strong against a pike very strong against a pike formation unit. And the reason why is so that when you have swords and shields, you just smack the pikes out of the way and just basically get in there, and you can break their formation. So infantry are very strong against pike formations, whereas cavalry are not good against pike formations because their main ability is to basically charge into a unit and get some additional damage before they even fight. Whereas the pike units can stop that and basically inflict that damage back onto the cavalry units, which is very strong because cavalry is actually very strong in this game. But you have to make sure you're charging the right units, otherwise that charge bonus will backfire on you, and you're not going to get as much out of your cavalry as you would like. Range units are very good against infantry units. They just do additional damage on them. They just soak up all that range fire, and you can do a lot more damage with them, especially with the Earthbound range units. They're once you get like a deuce or a trine with the earthbound sort of bow and arrow guys, they just absolutely destroy infantry units just because of the amount of fire they can throw at people. And that's really it. So just to put this in perspective, infantry good against pikes, pikes good against cavalry. Cavalry is good against range guys. Basically, they just do additional damage on them and they just destroy them. And then it goes back and forth. So you've got this little nice square here in this direction of what deals with what. And that's a support unit. This will be the support symbol. They generally don't have a weakness or a strong point. They're sort of in the middle sort of guys that have a certain battlefield role. Generally support units are either very frail or they're very strong, but they're sort of slow and cumbersome. Okie dokie. Very true, Araman. It's not simple. It's not always just rock paper scissors. Sometimes you can get into the flanks of units and you can disorientate them. But that's just a general sort of rock paper scissors system. If you front charge a pike and shot unit, you're gonna have a bad time. Whereas if you flank them or if you get a stun off on the pike unit, you can have a good time and actually smash into them and have a really good chance of either one-shotting them, just outright killing them, or just getting them solo that range units and other units can just mop it up, which is great. So Rebus, good old Rebus, is going to charge in. We're going to move our cavalry into the back line so we can get those range units at the back up there. I believe they're just advancing. Our pike units are just going to advance up. Belial, we'll just keep him shooting guys, and we got our swordsman fighting the pikesmen, so that's fine. So we're going to get him, we're going to get one of our cavalry units and just throw him up there. And move Harper into a more dominating position. Yeah, that's the nastiness of the earthbound sort of range units, is the fact that if you put them in a deuce or a trine, they have the ability to fire twice if it rolls very well for their attack value. So they can fire twice, and then you just destroy infantry units because they just don't have the health to deal with that. Unless of course you have like a trine earthbound swordsman unit, and you get really lucky by getting those shield blocks. So we want to keep formation, so we're just gonna push them back, push these guys back. Old Harper's gonna help out. Rebus will smash. That's what he does best. And we're gonna have some fun with the ladies back here. Yeah, I did make an order for him. No, that's good enough, so break. Oh, Rebus will be fine, mate. He's just tanky as hell. He's a little scratch, but I'm not worried for him. He's so tough. No. There is no resupply in the sense you can't requisition units into the fight. There can be some scenarios where allies magically appear because of the scenario in question, like the reinforcements have arrived, we're going to be saved, and then things happen. You can get that, but it's down to scenarios if things will help you or if things come out, if additional enemy units appear as well. Archers and ranged units cannot fire indirectly to my knowledge. From what I've seen of the game, the snipers, bows and arrow guys, generally, if they're within attack range, they can probably fire. If not, not so good. So we're just gonna, I'm actually gonna try and flank these cavalry guys just to see if this really actually does it really good. I can't form in this direction because old Harper's in the way. Really helpful. So he could be useful and go over here. Yeah, see, in this case, Brace retaliates on my unit, even though I charged him in the flank. Although that could be down to the fact that they're just a dagger unit, and they don't... Daggers have sort of like a 360 view, so they can just respond to braces against, you know, cavalries in the flanks. No, it's not all human factions, Windflak. There are elves and dwarves in the game as well, but not in the traditional sense. Elves are more sort of like based on like Japanese sort of culture, and the dwarves are just like, you know, heavy steampunk engineers sort of guys. They're not like, you know, they're not like like dwarves are like, you know, Vikings or anything like that. I'm gonna move him away because we can't let him die, and he's pretty low. And Rebus is fine. He's just smacking things like he doesn't care. No, I'll just let him stay. He'll be fine. So he just shoots him up. Kills him. That was very quick. It is a tutorial mission, so it doesn't really show much of the... It's not that it doesn't show much, it's just more... It's tailored more into your favour, because the Brachian units are generally quite weak. Yeah, Rebus, you freaking carried that. You just didn't care. It was just damage. What damage? And we get free medals. Always nice. Yeah, for the record, in Ravenmark, every mission has medals, and these are sort of like your achievements. So for each medal you get, they go towards your maximum achievement count, and once you hit certain thresholds with the amount of medals you get an achievement. It's always good. And the third medals are generally the hardest to get. Those are like the mission-specific things you have to do. Oh no! Vikings! Oh no, more Vikings! Oh no! Whatever shall we do? No, I'm not going to show... this encounter. They have been ambushed by Vikings. How will our hero survive? Tune in next time to Ravenmark. So I'm just going to be showing another faction. So we basically just showed the basics of the Estellion faction. The basic Estellion are basically very all-rounded guys. Decent melee, decent range. They got some really good melee units and some really good range units and formations. And generally their playstyle focuses around you know, holding the line with their swordsmen and basically using cavalry and range guys to just mop up everything else. So they basically, you can play aggressive with them, which is what I like to do. I like to use lots of windswept cavalry to just get into the flanks as soon as I can and just rip people to shreds. And then using massive like swordsman formations and bowman formations to basically just mop up everything that's around there. Swordsmen, you know, being in front of the bow and arrow dude so that they don't get flanked or anything. So that's the basics of Ravenmark, just showcasing just how to move, how to, you know, there's some wheeling, there's initiative and turn order, and all that stuff. But now I'll be showing you the Kaysan Sun Eaters. The antagonists of the Ravenmark universe. So basically, the Kaysan are these heavily religious, very redemptive sort of people. They're basically been thrown off the history books, and they're absolutely pissed, like crazy. So now they're going up to so they're marching into Estellion with this massive elf army with all these priests and all these fanatics, just ready to cut down everything that gets in their way, and that's the basic plan. And good old Alejo de Porres is our Pope. He is the main leader of the Kaysan faction, and he is leading us on a great crusade. Warhammer dwarves, but with massive metal boars, which is awesome. They ride around on big boars with blades all over them, with metal armor. It is awesome. Windflak, talking about Warhammer dwarves. Yeah, Usun here is basically a he's similar to Callus in the sense that he's like a young up-and-coming young sort of commander, sort of tactician, but whereas Callus is more reserved and isn't sure of himself and is easily sort of beaten down, Usun is he's very full of himself, he's very confident, and all he wants to do is just show that I am really good, that I am the guy. You know, don't worry, Alejo, I'm just gonna get everything done. But Alejo, as shown here, he thinks he's overestimating himself and believes more that the god's name was... Oh, I forgot the god's name. Oh no. I'm going to get a knock at my door now that Alejo's going to come in and say, "You forgot my god's name!" and then burns me on the stake or something. Always fun. Yes, very true, Araman. The faction that we're playing are the Redeemers. So they're basically the majority of the army. It's K's, yeah. The Redeemers are basically the army that's just... We basically... Redeemers are the mop-up crew, whereas the Inquisitors are more of the subjugators and basically want to just cold blood, get everything, kill everything, and get everything done, but in the most, like, smoothest way possible. Whereas the Redeemers, we just march all over everything and just go like, "No, you must join us!" So the idea here is that they've marched into a port town, which is sort of... They can't... These seamen kind of don't like the Estellion guys, so they don't like them, but they're not gonna, like, you know, form a mutiny or cause a ruckus because they're sort of ruled by them. But what good old Usun is planning is to basically form a mutiny by forcing the by just killing as many Estellion as possible, and basically saying, "You should join us because, you know, you hate the Estellions and we hate the Estellions, so let's go murder Estellions. We're gonna have a very merry fun party murdering Estellions." Yeah, what they were talking about is basically they have agents within the port town sort of telling the seamen, like, "Hey, you should join these the Kaysan guys. They're totally worth it." Oh god, there's an eclipse. What are we gonna do? Damien Laurentius, badass dude. So yeah, you could tell these guys are a bit kind of pricks, telling him that it's none of his business. You know, kind of peasant sort of thing. And you don't say that to him. Gettysburg, we're working on that at the moment. There should be something about Gettysburg very soon. Grey Mauser, Tigers on the Hunt. I'm not too sure myself, but I'm sure some of the other guys will be sure to keep you updated regarding Tigers on the Hunt. But I do know that we're working on we're starting work on Scourge of War very soon. So basically, this mission showcase it's more than just murder everything. We're not just murdering every single unit. Yes, Araman. Basically, the eventually further in the campaign, you have these you have the Islemen join your force, and they can be used as auxiliary sort of water units that can basically swim basically they can just walk through this water as if they were moving and come out the other side, whereas other units can't actually go through the water. So they're very unique. So they can get around terrain. They're sort of like auxiliary units that can be used to get into the flanks of certain things that you didn't think were possible. Attack and burn down those watchtowers! Burn down the towers! Right. I'm going to show you my favourite unit in the game. My favourite unit, and arguably my favourite commander, is this guy. The Cardani Marsh Runners, I think, are one of the best units in the game. And Tengoku is just amazing with this unit. Tengoku is basically some of the elves believe that that their lives should be like a massive balls of fire where they blow up and basically say like, when we blow up and it's for the glory of our god, and you know, we'll be redeemed through fire and sort of stuff like that. Whereas Tengoku embrace the evil and channel it into doing some good in the world. So instead of the firebomb units and the Kodani armies blowing themselves up to redeem themselves, the Tengoku redeems himself by slaying the enemies of his god, rather than, you know, just blowing up. Tengoku is really strong. He's basically a very powerful melee unit that has an ability called Warcry, which basically gives him more damage. Now, Kodani Marsh Runners are basically, they're a mixture of cavalry and infantry. They're infantry in the sense that they move. You know, they move quite like cavalry, but they're not cavalry. They're just very, very, very fast. They have a very high initiative, very high movement speed, and they have an ability called, I think it's Dominate or Outflank. I'll just take a look. Outmaneuver. So basically, if I was to move this unit to the side of this swordsman unit, I would do additional damage with my charge and my melee attack. And this stacks with Warcry. So with Warcry and Outmaneuver and charge, because I'll be moving into the flank, you're going to be doing some ridiculous damage with them. And the good thing about the Marsh Runners is that they're single units. You can't form them up. They can't like be formed into deuces and trines. So you can use these guys to sort of 1-2 punch really strong units. So with these two Kodani Marsh Runners, I can just basically go into the flank of these Earth Wardens, get to the other flank of these Earth Wardens, and I can arguably just kill them in one turn if I maneuver them properly. Very strong unit. Also, with the Keisan faction are swarms. This is a new thing that's explained in the first mission of the Sun Eaters campaign. Swarms are unique formations which are, they can't form up. They can't form up with other swarms or other units, but they're formed in a 2x2 sort of way. So, as you can see, these Marsh Runners are just on a 1 square, whereas these Sword Staff Braves take up 4 spaces because they're in a 2x2 formation. This has the advantage of basically just having more health, and you could just leave them to do their own sort of thing. So generally, it's quite strong. Generally, you just use swarms to just hold people up, quite similarly to the Estellions, but it's more, they're less micromanaged. If you have lots of swarms, it's very hard. But if you got just like 3 or 4 big swarms just to hold up everything, you could just tell them just to advance northwest or northeast or pursue a certain target, and that, excuse me, it leaves you free to use your Marsh Runners and Deacons or other units to really, really put the pressure on the battlefield and focus on those units, because they're very important if you want to get things done. So I'm going to start moving. Wait. So I'm going to move good old Tengoku. Tengoku? They're very high initiative, so I always move them first. So as you can see, the Deacon's unit goes first, rather than Tengoku's. So we want him to ideally not get in the way of Tengoku's unit. So I'm going to place him here, so that there's no, well, he will still get in the way, so there's no, I can't really do much about that. So we're just going to move him as far as we can, just to get them up there. Alright, the mission, I forgot to mention this. there are 3 watchtowers, and we got to take them down. Basically, the idea of this is to basically destroy all 3 watchtowers and kill this guy, the Legate, who is basically like a commander unit of the Estellion faction. So we're going to take him out, take these watchtowers down, and have a bloody good time of it. So we're going to tell Allegia Depores to smack a watchtower for a while, and basically move some guys down to the right flank just to keep some guys locked up. Checking to make sure people aren't going to, you know, get into a traffic jam. So that's my 6 commands. I can't command this to do anything because I've used up all my commands, as you see here. So I'll just begin my turn. I'm quite confident my marsh runners are not in melee range, because the earth wardens are very slow. Hit hard, very tough, but very slow. Very true, Araman. Kaysan are all about burning things, which is kind of why I like them. They burn things and have awesome samurai suicide squads. It's crazy. They're so much fun to play with. So I'm going to get into the flank of these actually, not a good idea because they could easily just advance up and hit us. So I'm going to try and get into this flank here with Tengoku. And then I'll use the Deacon to get into the flank of the Earth Wardens. So you'll see here the charge mechanic in full swing. Charging a person doesn't. You don't need to. When you're charging, you don't just have to just pursue and click a guy, and then you charge. You just have to move a unit. Just so long as a unit with charge moves 1 square and they're within melee range of an enemy unit, they will charge them, no matter what. So if you have single cavalry units, and you've already charged with them, just move them like behind a enemy unit. So let's say, for example, let's say Tengoku was already in this position here, and I want to continuously charge, so I could just move to this square or that square just to keep the outmaneuver and keep the charging going, and then you just do high amounts of damage with that. Good thing to keep in mind when you're playing the this faction. So Allegia Depores is basically going to keep smacking this building for a while, and I'm going to move Usun to help out. And get old Taraka? Oh, Taraka, yes it is. Taraka's going to help out. What's his initiative? Okay, so my guys go first, so I'm going to try and move them to the flank. And then get him just to move. And we'll move these guys as far as we can. And break! So there was a bit of outmaneuvering charging going on, so I got into the flanks of the Earth Wardens and the Swordsmen, and they're just hitting things really hard as they do. So I got into a flank, really strong. Okay, now Tengoku is exhausted because he had to fight multiple times. Basically, you can only attack and counterattack once a turn. So, with Tengoku, I attacked with him. He was counterattacked by this swordsman unit, and he had to counterattack again against the Earth Wardens. So, his second counterattack against the Earth Wardens didn't happen. Okay, I kind of boxed in Tengoku here. So we're just going to try and get him to move up. Get him into a flank. We'll tell good old Usun to smack things. One of the things Deacons are very good at is healing. Deacons are basically a priest unit that are attached to your infantry. They have 2 abilities called Invigorate and Bloodcast Void. Invigorate basically means they can heal a friendly unit within a certain amount of spaces, so 4 tiles within itself they get a good heal. Bloodcast Void is a very risky but very powerful move where you can you deal damage to yourself, but you stun everything within 2 tiles of your unit. This means you can lock down massive formations of units and then just charge around them, which is quite strong. However, in this case, using Bloodcast Void is not a good idea because I'll be locking out my guys. So using Bloodcast Void is all about placement and decision making. Whether you have the high initiative to do that Bloodcast Void, and whether you guys can follow up. I think that's my turn. So, yeah, you can't rotate in this game. You can't rotate the camera. You can move like to, you know, north, south, west, and east on the screen, but you can't like rotate the screen so you can see like very small spaces here. So if I move here, I'll be in the flank of these swordsmen. So I'm going to do that. And Deacon's going to move to the flank here, to the back. Let's try and get a rear action there. Or I could move him there. Actually, it might be a better idea moving him there, because then he can potentially get a flank into them or that. And good old Usun can charge in. I'm quite confident that these swordsmen will die by Tengoku. Tengoku will just wreck them all day. And you. Yeah, I want to break that formation when I can. So I go into a flank and outmaneuver. Just, whoa, the damage. That damage, man. Marsh runners are great. He basically practically destroyed a swordsman unit with just one charge. An infantry unit. Infantry units are no joke when it comes to toughness. But the marsh runners, they will hit you so hard. I think that was a little healing they had there. I like the Earth Shield's like attack animation. It's just basically just these cartoon noises of banging people on the head. It's funny. Right. So Tengoku's boxed in, but we can get a rear charge on the Earth Shield veterans, and we're gonna get Keisan, not Keisan, the Deacon's unit to go to the flank of this shield unit. Usun's attacking them, but I want him to use his ability. Usun's ability is Master of Logistics, which basically means it's a massive heal. Heals all units on the board for 2, which is great because it basically enables you to keep your swarms and your elite units topped up when you can. You don't need to rest them as much as you need to. And with the Deacon's ability to invigorate, you can quite simply keep a very powerful melee unit or a very powerful elite unit alive just through sheer amounts of healing and rests. Hey Commissar, how's it going? We're playing Ravenmark at the moment. It's a turn-based strategy game with a Wii Go system. We're playing very angry Catholics that want to burn everything, so come and join us. So I want to heal this unit, and yeah. Now look at the initiative here because I'm thinking would this unit die before I can get a heal off? So that won't happen because this unit, my healing unit, is faster than every unit in the area that can harm my guys. So I can heal them, they'll be topped up, and if they take damage, they take damage, but they'll be fine. So that's just a little showcase of the initiative turn order, just to make sure that, okay, yep, he's top, yep, I'm quicker, I can get that heal off, he won't die, good, great, we'll keep going with that. And he's just basically going to hit that all day. He will not stop. Alejo will not stop killing watchtowers. He will not stop. So good damage on the dudes there. Outflank, just smashing them up. Oh, now we're in range of the watchtower over there, so that's a bit of trouble. Heals up for a few bows and arrows flying around. Master of Logistics, topping up my guys, really good. Taraka is just basically taking the brunt of this. He'll be fine. And they just die because they're so low on health. Yes, Party Commissar. Basically, you have up to 6 command slots. So you can command up to 6 units per turn. However, your commands can go beyond turns through standing orders, which basically mean if I was to pursue this unit, and this unit keeps running away, I'd have to keep telling my marsh runners to re-pursue all the time. They'll just constantly pursue him forever, and they will not take up a command slot. Whereas if I want to do something else, that will negate that and will become a command slot. So that's a cool thing to know. So cancel that order. I didn't want it to pursue, really. Tengoku! You ninja! I'm going to cast Infernal Mirage. Basically, Alessio's power is to reduce the armor of all units on the board by a lot, so we have the potential to do more damage. Always good. More damage is great. Yes, Fabzab, the white units are neutral. They're just neutral units that are there for the sake of being there. You can ignore them for the purposes of this mission. So I want to get into the flank of these Earth Shields. I want them to die. I want to get rid of those Earth Shields as fast as I can. So I'll do just that. This is a range unit. They just throw darts at things. As I just to recap, basic infantry units with the shields are generally weak against bow and arrow units at range. Angry Catholic ninjas. The marsh runners aren't. I suppose they are Catholic. They're more angry Catholic samurai. Angry Catholic samurai with a bit of parkour thrown in, and very mad berserker rage. Yeah, I have spent a bit of time reading the codex just to see like who's Tengoku. He's a badass. Yeah, I'm gonna move my marsh runners down, or I could use the healing ability of the deacon just to keep Tengoku in good health. But I don't think he really needs that right now. So I'm just gonna close the door on this unit. Just basically make sure that there are no survivors. There are no survivors. So massive outflank, but they lock shields, so the damage is negated for that little extra attack. Bit of a shame. God, those things are locking shields like crazy. And everything is missing! Yay! Everything is missing, so nothing happens. Great! Right, we're going to get into the flank of these dudes, because we just want to tear them to pieces. That's what we do. Tengoku, he's not really needed out here. This is just mop-up session, so we need him to get to this objective so we can just punish it and just kill everything we can. Usun will just keep doing what he's doing. Just keep attacking. Alessio will help out. We're going to move them around because we don't really want to fight that melee. And we'll just chase down these range units. I'm quite confident we have this game now because now we're in the driver's seat. Especially when you just smack things and they're like lower than half health. Yep, so the Earth Shields are gone. I'm not worried about them anymore. And they're just locking shields! They will not stop locking shields! Okay. So we're going to move them to the other side of the battlefield because that's where the action is for them. Because this flank is gone. Because my Kadani Marsh Runners will just destroy the watchtower and destroy that range unit without any trouble. They will have no problems. I'm gonna suicide this swarm into them because I can. Because that's what the Keisan do. We're about redeeming people by murder. Everyone doing things but accomplishing nothing. Kind of like politics. Also kind of like fitness diets. Because I never see the thing of fitness diets. just eat what you want to eat, but make sure you work out. That's what I think. Personal opinion. That's not for the record. This is not on behalf of Slytherin. You know, if they say eat your greens, I should probably say eat your greens. But you know, there you go. Random crap for you. Only on this stream. Yeah, the RNG can be. Yeah, but that's RNG, Araman. RNG can be a dickish mechanic, especially when it's the main thing. Especially when it's the main theme of like a specialization of a unit. If it's basically, oh, they're very strong if you roll very well, and then you just go, well, why am I not rolling very well? And then you get annoyed. I'm gonna heal up Tengoku and just keep him moving. Always move your charge units when you can, just so you can get an extra charge off. Very important. I'm gonna move Estellion out of the way. He's very low. And he's fast enough so he can get out of the way for Usun just to get past. Is he got a heal? So invigorate. He's not in range, so we'll just pursue the range unit. And you, where are you going? We want him to get down there. We need to take care of this guy. Yeah, but that's random number generating, Araman. You just have to you know, bite the bullet. Oh. So Taraka's gone. Thing to note, when a character dies, they don't die per se. They just go, oh no, we're hurt. We're going to run away. Very few, from the missions I've seen, very few people actually die. But that might change in the Raven's Fall and Raven's Rise campaigns. I don't know. I haven't played those campaigns yet. Cool. So we're gonna move him up, and we're basically just mopping up the board. But we have to be careful because the mission specifically states that Usun and Estellion must live. So what I'm going to do to make sure Estellion doesn't get outflanked or anything is rest. So he's just going to rest, get his health back up, and when he's ready, he'll come back and fight. As for the Deacon, we want him to get into combat as fast as we can. We want him to hit things. And Tengoku, we want him to get into combat as well. I believe they're pursuing. Yes, they are. So, yeah, break. It's a shame they're not in range. If they move that a little bit more. Oh, that's fine then. So all we have left is a Legate who doesn't know any better, and a very angry Tengoku who will absolutely rip him to shreds. And I don't think I think I could get a flank off that. So just everybody charge! Master of Logistics just to get everyone peeled up. I believe good old Estellion's resting still. Yep, he is. So we'll just keep going. Yes, there is a death in the campaign. That is true. Actually, there are 2 deaths, Araman. But I will not say who. I will not say who. Okay, we're just gonna get them in the flank. As I said before, oh no, that's yeah. As I said before, we're multi-charging with like small units, so we're gonna get into their flanks, rip them to shreds. And are they the range unit? Yeah, they're the Dart Elves, so we're just gonna move them out the way and just pursue that. And yeah, Estellion's fine now, so he can just move. Yes, that specific individual who has his own cutscene dying. Although I never really cared for that guy, so I was just like, oh. But that's just my personal opinion about the guy. So yeah, this watchtower is pretty screwed. Because we have very nasty samurai units that'll murder them, and very angry popes, and very angry, they're just all very angry, you know. So much hate with the Keisan. Although they kind of have a reason to be angry, so. So this mission's generally just this mission's just generally done. We're just gonna wipe out that watchtower, and there's nothing gonna happen. There's no point. I don't want to really showcase any more of this because it'll just be the watchtower dying in a cutscene, a little cutscene, and that'll be it. And I want to show another faction before closing for the night, so we're just gonna close that off. And we're gonna do a little extra thing. We're going to go to the Deepwood Dragoons and showcase the Astora faction. And the Astora faction are very English sort of riflemen. Won't someone think all the dead units that didn't get faces, they have families too? Yes, but when they signed up with the Stormtrooper job application, you don't get a face. And ironically, we're fighting Tengoku! We're gonna fight Tengoku.
Mrah, Cardani, we crush heretic humans, for glory of K's, burn all!
He's a very angry man. This showcases the other units of the K-San, which is basically mad people blowing up. Yeah, they're sort of like, think Waterloo, sort of Waterloo, England, Napoleon sort of time, I would think, for the Astora faction. Very sort of sabers, more about, you know, firing lines and all that sort of stuff, riflemen. And there is Laurent de Artim, a very, very feisty, aggressive woman who likes to kill things. Yeah, Tengokus are, they're not generic officers, they're like a cadre of warriors that basically give themselves to the demons within and to use that fury to kill their god's enemies. They're not. They are generic officers in a sense, but I like to think Tengoku is an individual because he's just cool. He's just down, Commissar, down. What bonehead to pick out here in Lyrie territory? Who knows? They're basically in this campaign. We follow what's his name? Guy with the glasses. I can't remember his name. I really should remember names. Thaddeus. Thaddeus is basically went into the woods to sort of find out the mysteries, something or other. I really shouldn't say that. But basically, he gets swept up with Laurent because she's sort of saying, "Hey, why aren't you at your post?" And Thaddeus is like, "But this isn't my post." It's like, "Well, too bad, you're with us now." So basically, she just drags Thaddeus and his friends along. Yeah, Glasses Man, yes, his name is Glasses Man. Spumblers. Dwight's funny. His ability is low blow. He's a rifleman, but he has a low blow ability where he basically just smacks you in the balls and you do like lots of melee damage. It's funny. It's just like, yep, that's it. He is the best guy ever. And we have Chloe, who we pick up during the Ravenhood campaign, and Thaddeus sort of charges himself to look after the girl and make sure she's okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a huge like story behind her. I think it's something to do with the Lyrie, because the Lyrie, who are basically like Vikings, Viking, sort of like berserk Viking guys that sort of like go off on their own and are very pagan and very strict in their sort of religious beliefs and the fact they don't go to certain places. So he's just want to make sure that poor little Chloe is safe. You know, we want to keep Chloe safe. We don't want Chloe to get hurt. You know, would you want Chloe to get hurt, everyone? Do you want that little girl to die? It's on your shoulders if she dies, not me. Okay, so just to showcase the Astora units, unlike the Kaysan and the Estellions, which are very orthodox pagans, yes, Commissar. Unlike Estellion, which is like an all-rounded faction, but with certain units that are focused at melee or range, and the Kaysan, which use swarm units and very strong elite units with melee mostly. The Astora are more of a ranged faction. They have lots of rifleman units and units that can lock down that can lock down enemy units, so you can just basically just keep shooting them and keep your firing line, move back, keep firing again. So they're sort of like, I'm sorry, how would I put this? They're the main ranged faction of the of Ravenmark. So if you're more of a keep away sort of person, you want to just stay back, and just keep firing away. The Estors are pretty good at that. Also, they have a freaking boar charger. Just look at that. It's a boar with armor and blades with a dwarf on it. Isn't that awesome? That's freaking sweet. I mean, if Warhammer Fantasy had dwarves, it does have fantasy, but if Warhammer Fantasy's dwarves had freaking cavalry units with like boars or bears, if you have a dwarf riding a bear or a boar, you are screwed. Absolutely screwed. Like, you just throw in the tower, just like, that's too awesome and too manly. We're done. Bye, guys. We're gone. So that's the boar chart. Yeah, armored boar is awesome. So these rifleman units are in the Ravenhood campaign as well. They're basically they're very strong in the sense that if you don't move with them, they can do lots of range damage to a target, and they have an ability called Snipe, which they've already used in the cutscene, which basically stuns a unit within range, and that enables you to just lock people down. So we're going to move them down the hill. They'll still be in range. They'll still be in range because the red squares here are basically the attack range of your units. So you can just keep shooting stuff, even if I'm moving. With lovely Loran, we're just gonna move her up, just help out with our boar friend, and we're gonna get our shooting units into a formation. I believe they have an ability if they're in a deuce. It gains 10 range skill. So basically, range skill. Skill is basically the accuracy of the unit. The damage is obviously how much they hurt you. Armor, how much they resist. Range, the amount of squares that they can hurt people. And there's melee and range sort of things. Excuse me. Yeah, the Grey Jackets are Sharp's rifles. There are actually a few Sharp references in this game. If you go through the entire Prelude campaign, the last few cutscenes, it's just a blatant like copy paste of Sharp, of like the first episode of Sharp, which is awesome. I love Sharp. I love Sharp the series, not the man, not the man. He may be rugged and charming, but it's not my type. And no. Oh God, shut up, Axe, just shut up. So we're just moving things around. Yep. You have grenades. You have infantry units that throw grenades at people. That's what the Estor do. They throw grenades, they shoot rifles, and they charge you with boars. Now, isn't that a faction you can get behind? Isn't that a faction you just get behind? Just things that just shoot stuff, throw grenades at people, and then charge with the most awesome animals on the planet, or on the planet at the time. I can't control the boar charger yet because he's an allied unit. Once I kill these marsh runners, he'll free him up, and I can control him, and I can showcase a bit more of him. We're gonna charge. We're gonna charge into the marsh runners, and we're gonna try and get these riflemen down the hill. We need to get them down the hill as fast as we can. Form up, lads. Face northwest, and shoot stuff. That's all my units that I can move, so they're gonna move. Don't spoil anything, Ariman. I haven't actually finished this campaign. The reason why it took me so long is because I've been trying to do all the medals. And I fully pursued... Oh, no, I didn't. I moved it. I didn't pursue. Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad move. So yeah, those guys need help really quickly. So I'm going to move our rifleman up to help out. And actually get her to charge something. Actually get lovely Loran to charge something. Move them back. What's their range? The range is this, so we really want to move them back. Oh no, I'm just saying, just don't spoil anything. Oh, and they got the outmaneuver, and that hurts. That really hurts. Oh, but they're dead anyway, so that's cool. Seriously! Jeez. Yeah, this might be harder than normal. Oh, excuse me. Are you going to pursue him? Are you going to do that now? I swore I pursued with him earlier, but... yeah. Form up a firing line, lads. Let's form up that firing line and shoot some dudes. Hopefully the boar guy doesn't die, because that'd really suck. Oh, good. He charged. He charged us, so whatever. Yeah, Loran has an ability where she can increase the damage of units within a certain range of her. So you can use that ability and then just like move her around wherever you want. So she's great as a firing line general. So what you do is you line her up with your range units, cast the ability, and then just shoot stuff. And then when they're low on health or you can get a charge off, just move her in for the killing blow. 38 charges, we are alive. So let's get going and smash some stuff. But we're probably going to run away with him because he is low on health. Get her down. And I want to stop. I really want to stop Tengoku if I can. But we can't. So I'm going to just stop the rifleman. I mean the pikesman. Have they used grenades? No, they haven't. Well, we're just going to use them to pursue. So Snipe is an ability that stuns enemy unit. So I use that to stun the pikeman, which is helpful. We're going to rest him up. Gonna get some health points back on because he's literally on Death's Valley, so I'm gonna just chill with him. Okay. I think he's faster than us. He's probably gonna kill the rifleman, so I'm just gonna try and focus him down as if I can. Yeah, I'm not in a really good position, so I'm going to try and move around, try and get within the AoE of the buff, and see if we can save some people. Oh, I got lucky. He war cried. He buffed. That was a bad move. Boar equals living tank. Yes, the boar is a living tank, but when you have a boar with armor, then it's like a panzer. You're not moving it. You're not going to move it. Alright, so let's get these guys up and running. How's our... yeah, so we're going to move them. Keep resting. I want him to get enough health so that he can actually fight back. Restore her, because she's quite low. Yeah, our friend here has the ability to heal, like the deacons. But it's a stronger heal, but he only has that ability. Yeah, we're not in a good spot right now. Try and get her into a flank. Move the rifleman away. We can use the mobility of the units to just get away. I'm going to rest him for one more turn. Well, nah. We need to mop this up. And there goes him. Sweet mother of dukes! These clans getting the better of our ranks. It's because Tenguku's with them. And he hits like a bugger. I wanted to get into that range unit. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Yep, we lost the mission, everyone. Hey, we lost. No, the reason why we lost that was basically just bad positioning. I was not using Loran very well. I kept thinking I was pursuing a target, which I wasn't. I kept moving her. I wasn't pursuing. So I didn't get any charges off. So it took longer to kill those marsh runners. So because it took so long, the boar charger took too much damage, and she took too much damage for just sitting around doing nothing. So that's just really bad. So, you know, that's just bad play from me. It's not that the game's, you know, broken or anything. It's just me being very stupid. And also, Estora's not my kind of faction. I like aggressive factions that can get into melee, like the Kaysan and certain parts of the Estellions. They are very different. Estor, you have to have a certain playstyle about you to do it. But yeah, that's just a basic run through of Ravenmark. So we've covered 3 factions: the Estellions, which are the main faction, the Kaysan, the main antagonists, and the Estor, which are a unique faction with decent range abilities and that mingle with the Estellions as allies. Need more bayonets. Yeah, that's what we need. We need more bayonets, grenades, and boars. That's what we need. But yep, Ravenmark's released today. It's out now. You can get it on the PC for $9.99 for this week. It's the release week, and $19.99 for a physical copy. But however, on the retail after the release week, it'll be $14.99 and $24.99, I believe. Already bought. Good man. So yeah, that's Ravenmark. Just a basic showcase of the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, if in the comment box, if I was a terrible person that we should send Elijah de Porres to my house because I forgot his god's name. He should string me up on a very, very awkward position and burn me alive. Always fun. Right. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Have a good day, evening, whatever it is you do. Take care, guys.